And yeah, no, that is really awesome. Unplanned, but awesome. So yeah, so next we have another former Go Farm member. And I had the great pleasure of participating in this program, the Culinary Breeding Network, that Jay put together and we'll be sharing about today. So take it away, Jay.
Go. All right. Hey, everybody. So yeah, like Noah was saying, some of you guys participated in this, so know this well, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the Culinary Breeding Network, which is a group based out of Oregon, which Go Farm has partnered with in the past. And I think that they do really interesting work, and we enjoyed collaborating with them. And whether the future work would actually be, concretely collaborating with Culinary Breeding Network, I think the ideas have a lot um, going that folks in Hawaii and at CTAHR could take and run with. So really, I think it's about doing both education to the public, consumers, purchasers in general, and trying to create markets, new markets, and expand markets through storytelling. And I'm glad to see that I don't. I'm pretty clear about this needing to be in the context of food systems transformation. We can create new markets, but if farmers can't get land, it doesn't really make much of a difference that we've created new markets. So the variety showcases are these events, and we put one on in 2018 and another in 2019. And those are the booklets that I just sent you. I accidentally sent them twice, but I recommend looking at them if you were not at the event. And part of the purpose of that is to kind of lift the veil. I think so many consumers, especially, but even folks in the culinary world, purchasers, they don't realize all of the work that's going to make our food happen, both in terms of the production and then specifically the variety showcases try to highlight some of the research and breeding that happens to make varieties available. And really, a lot of the work of the Culinary Breeding Network is creating buzz. And we talked about maybe some data not being sexy. This is trying to make things sexy. And really, the purpose of the event is doing exactly what we're talking about here, is trying to get people out of their silos and get all of these people in the same room at the same time, having fun, seeing all this diversity of crops, eating things. We pair folks together. So in this picture here, we had some culinary students from LCC paired with Daniela Dutra-Elliott, a researcher there, showing off a variety of Roselle or sorrel. So some of our interactions are planned where we're putting a chef together with a producer where we think, oh, this has potential for these folks to work together. And then the idea is that you get all these folks together in the room and there's going to be something catches their eye or they meet someone that leads to future future collaborations that really out of the control or the pre-planning of the event. And then I just have down at the bottom, there are other groups coming up doing similar work, including in Wisconsin, the Seed to Kitchen Collaborative. So these are just a few pictures from some of our events. So up on the left, we've got folks, Kalo producers, folks doing research from CTAHR about the microbiome of fermented poi. Down on the left, Ted Radovich, who's done a bunch of great work with Olena, and I would think it would probably be pretty easy to show and argue that has expanded the market for growers for Olena here in the state. In the middle, we had some CTAHR graduate students that were looking at basal downy mildew resistance and like the molecular mechanisms of that. Maybe not the sexiest topic in a poster, but you get people actually tasting these different varieties. You've got an extension agent doing some trialing, and then a Go Farm grower doing sprouts there, and folks get to actually kind of see, taste, and hear about the research all at the same time. And who'll be talking to us next does a bunch of great work collaborating with our extension agents. I think, again, important to have variety trials going, and then people being able to taste things. And then down here in the bottom right is just an example of, I was doing some breeding. We were able to kind of create a market for this product in the terms of cornmeal and polenta, and then other growers then took that variety and are now producing and growing it. And so this is the kind of work that you guys are talking about, and I think this event does a great job of facilitating. The Culinary Breeding Network does another type of event, which we have not done in Hawaii in collaboration with them, but it's called a Sagra, which is an Italian concept of celebrating specific crops or specific seasons. And they put this neat event on called Fill Your Pantry. And it's in the winter. It's a pre-existing farmers market. They partner with some aggregators like FarmLink. So the Culinary Breeding work is kind of, they're not taking money. They're just there doing education, doing tastings, doing cooking demos, showing folks how they could use some of these products that farmers are able to produce that may not be as familiar to consumers. And so basically, yeah, trying to promote the purchase of them, and then they turn around from eating them, and then they're farmers sell berry vegetables. So I think there's a lot of potential to kind of do some events like this. These are some events they have coming up, really crop specific. One all about tomatoes, a long event, and then Radicchio is another yearly event that they do. So really trying to create this buzz, connect growers to purchasers, whether those are restaurants, institutions. And in terms of storytelling, I just think that I reflect on how many stories that CTAHR and UH has to tell, some of which have been told well, but some of which I think there's still a lot out there to be told. So one that comes to mind to me is the history of breeding at the university. And I think that would be a great tool to raise awareness of the breeding programs that have been at the university in the past. And it would be great to try to get some support for increasing the amount of breeding going up at the university. So these are just a few of the crops that the Wonder Bean series, so like Pomoho Wonder, Manoa Wonder, Hawaiian Wonder Beans, some of you guys of Glenn Teves has done a great job documenting this in his newsletters, the breeding of Jim Gilbert's tomatoes, which went around the world and contributed to breeding, just like Dr. Bruce. Still a lot out there to be told. So one that comes to mind to me is the history of breeding at the university. And I think that would be a great tool to raise awareness of the breeding programs that have been at the university in the past. And it would be great to try to get some support for increasing the amount of breeding going up at the university. So these are just a few of the crops that the Wonder Bean series, so like Pomoho Wonder, Manoa Wonder, Hawaiian Wonder Beans, some of you guys of Glenn Teves has done a great job documenting this in his newsletters, the breeding of Jim Gilbert's tomatoes, which went around the world and contributed to breeding, just like Dr. Brubaker's sweet corns. And then there are these neat stories behind varieties that are important and sold now and grown. Hirayama Kaichoi, that was a farmer selection. And then new work that extension agents have done and breeders, like the Pomoho dark long eggplant, which is being sold in state. And then this is a screenshot from Southern Exposure Seed in Virginia, which is selling the seed as well. Kind of trying to better tell the story of what's gone on here in the past, how important that has been for our agriculture, and that we have had in other parts of the world. And this is a great publication, quite old and dated now, that Dr. Brubaker did on the past, present, and future of crop improvement of whole. It would be great to do an updated one. The UH Seed Lab, I think, is a great story to tell. I don't know if you guys know that the UH Seed Lab is legendary. The Seed Savers Exchange, which is one of the most famous organizations dealing with seed conservation and getting seed to growers, does this every 5 years, this census of all of the seed available in the United States that gardeners and farmers can buy. And they had this ranking that they did on the conservation importance of seed suppliers. And at the very top of that list is the UH seed program, because there's low turnover of varieties and they offer that no one else in the United States offers. So that's like this story just waiting to be told that I think too few people are aware of. And through doing more promotion of these specific varieties, it could help create demand both on the consumer side and then for farmers to be purchasing those seeds from the Seed Lab, getting some more financial support for the Seed Lab, and hopefully some more notoriety so that both within the university and within the legislature, they can get some funding and continue their great work. So again, I think just the whole point of the Culinary Breeding Network and this type of work is just creating links between all of the folks in the food system, telling these stories, and then hopefully stimulating sales by creating the relationships like Pomai was talking about. I think there's so much to kind of creating buzz, whether that's on social media or these kinds of events, getting like famous chefs and popular chefs involved. I think there's a lot of potential to showcase the research that extension agents and students are already doing that just no one knows about. And if it were presented in the right way, could engage the public. Lots of excellent field days obviously go on. That was curtailed by the pandemic, but as we're coming out of that, I think there's a lot of room to get those more popular, a wider audience to them. And then I think there's tons of opportunities to try to engage other departments, seeing some of the artwork and posters that the Culinary Breeding Network does. I think there's neat opportunities to think about engaging the art departments and involving marketing and business students and trying to figure out how to help farmers market these things, doing nutritional analysis, and along the lines of just trying to create collaborations in the last couple of years. And Pomai has been much more involved with this than I have, but Go Farm has worked with an organization called the Chef Who put on an event called the Traveling Plate, which has gone around the state putting on these smaller events, just trying again to show off local produce and local products and make them a little sexy and create some buzz and just try to get people out there and thinking about that. I've sent you guys the booklets. Feel free to look at those, and happy to answer any questions later.
Awesome. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, we